Good morning, afternoon, evening, as case may be in your part of the world. For those of you who don't know me, I'm ZenArcher. You know, there comes a time in everyone's life, I think, that you just know something's going to happen. You have this feeling of impending doom, and you don't know exactly what it is, but you know today's not a good day, and there's some things you should avoid. This past Wednesday, was one of those days for me. I woke up and I was feeling in pretty good spirits, but all day long there was this uneasy feeling. So then I realized that it was Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day that I usually kayak with the kayaking group out on Lake Erie. So the sun was bright and shiny, and the temperature was pretty good, and I thought, okay, this would be a good day to go kayaking. But I knew something just didn't feel right. I checked all my equipment, and my equipment was okay, and the car was okay, and everything was okay. And time came, and I got in the car, and I drove out to Lake Erie in order to go kayaking. When I got there, the waves were, I would guess, 2.5 foot, maybe 3 foot. I'm guessing. But they were some pretty good sized waves. They were crashing into the rocks, splashing up onto the shore, and this little voice inside of me said, Zen, if you go out there, you will drown. The little voice inside me told me, if you go in the kayak and get in the water, you will get wet. And I thought, well, to hell with it. I'll get wet, but I'll eventually wash into shore, and I'll get out, stand up, get back in the kayak, and I'll go back out for more, because that's the kind of guy I am. I really enjoy that kind of white-knuckle, fighting for it kind of thing. So there was a part of me that was cautious and said, don't go. But there's a larger voice in me that said, oh, this is going to be great. Go out there and surf a couple waves in. This is going to be fantastic. Luckily for me, I was smart, and I waited until the other kayakers showed up. And the group showed up, and we all kind of got together and looked out at the lake, and about 3/4 of them said, nah, I'm not going to go out there. We'll either go get something to eat, or we'll go find someplace else to paddle. There were a couple of the hardcore kayakers that said, Zen, if you want to go out, we'll go out with you. And I was like, no, we'll kind of keep the group. And I still had that impending doom just over my shoulder. If you get in the kayak, you're going to get wet. Anyway, they decided to go to this place called Black River, and we would just have a little river paddle. And that was great fun. We went and we put our boats in a nice little river. The water level was kind of low, so some places you would kind of ground out. The boat would hit the bottom and you get stopped. So you have to put your hands down in the water and just kind of scoot past it. So I had a great paddled all the way out. I don't know how far, but we paddled out, and we spent an hour or two out. And we turned around and paddled back, and that was all good. And a tourist boat came by and waved at the people as they went by and all of that. On the way back up, though, we got to that place where you ground out again. Now, being the monkey that I am, I decided that rather than put my hands down and scoot the way that most people would, or get out of the boat and just hold on to it and pull it past that point, I thought what I'll do is I'll sit on top of my kayak. Now, my kayak, you sit inside, but I thought I'll just sit on the back of it, and I'll paddle through. When I get to that spot, I'll just use my feet, and I'll push myself past it. It'll be a lot faster, and it'll be fun. I'll be, riding the rodeo. So that's what I did, and when I would get past and start floating again, I would lay out on the kayak and just kind of paddle it like a surfboard. Sounded like a great plan. The problem, and the thing that I hadn't thought of, was that means that my kayak was now top heavy. The top was much heavier than the bottom was, in water, floating. So probably the first 4 or 5 minutes into it, I completely flipped the kayak over and ended up sitting in the river. So I got back out, turned the kayak over, it had water in it, got out what water I could. We eventually got back, pulled the boats up onto the shore, and I got out completely soaking wet from my head to my feet. And then as I was wringing out my shirt, I realized that there was a bump on my side. Well, what the bump was is a neoprene case like this. And what it had inside of it was my cell phone. So I took the cell phone out, and water literally poured out of the corner of my cell phone. And you're not going to believe this, but the cell phone doesn't work anymore. So as of this video, I have no phone. My phone is not working. So I put in some calls and left some emails and stuff like that. I'm working on getting another phone, hopefully a better phone than I've got. And I'm going to move on. But yeah, I had that impending disaster. If you get in the boat, you're going to get wet. You're going to dump it. I knew it. I knew it from the time I woke up. And yet I ignored it. And I'm thankful that I did. I had fun. And I enjoyed myself. And I hadn't been in the water to swim or anything else in quite some time. So it was a lot of fun. But I'm paying for it. Also, my flip cam got moist. It was in the dry compartment, which isn't completely dry. It got moist, and my flip cam stopped working, at least temporarily. Hopefully it'll start working again. But I've hit the phone with all kinds of stuff, with hair dryer and everything else, and the phone's just dead. It's not coming back. It was on its last legs anyway. But anyway, yeah, when was the last time that you had one of those disasters just waiting to happen, and you knew it, but you still went? You know, or did you? Maybe you decided not to, and then some friends of yours something happened to. I'd like to know. Speaking of kayaking and things like that, somebody on the kayak board posted a little message, and some of you may have seen a message similar to this, about how to get from Cleveland to Honolulu, Hawaii. And try this, if you will. Go to Google Maps, maps.google.com, and type in Honolulu, Hawaii. And once you have that and found, then click on it and get directions from Cleveland, Ohio. Once you've got the directions, scroll down to number 24, step number 24, and you will see that it has you kayak from the West Coast to Hawaii. Now that is only 2,756 miles at basically the same pace that you would walk in the Pacific Ocean. I don't think I'm going to kayak to Hawaii anytime soon. But it was amusing to me to see that Google Maps suggested that you kayak from the West Coast to Hawaii. Not canoe, not take a boat, kayak. Sometimes you gotta wonder what they're thinking. So there's a little fun for you at the end. If you enjoyed this video, of course, like, love, friend me, subscribe, need me, the way that I need you. And I hope to see you again soon. Till next time, you be well.